What's up, everybody? We're live. It's a Friday edition of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Top Story of the Day. You share that link, you stank. In the final segment, you get all your questions on screen, even if you're on demand. Let us know what you think. Vince McMahon already has plans for next year's WrestleMania. That's how big the machine of the WWE is. Plus, we have news on the future of that man. You may have known him from WWE NXT. Malcolm Bivens. What is he doing now? Is AEW in his future? We'll talk about it. Plus, The Rock. The Rock could be putting the smackdown on Will Smith's Hollywood future. Yeah, it's revenge for his brother Chris The Rock. Yeah, they're related, right? They're related. Plus, we have news about AEW Fight Forever, AEW's new video game that is hotly anticipated. Plus, Starrcast. It's a thing, except it's not going to be going down where you think it's going down. So much to get into. It's a Friday edition of the show. Share that link or you stink. First-time viewers, tell us where you're watching from.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Watch out. If you're watching for the first time, don't make it the last time. Get your questions on screen. This is Top Story from Sportskeeda Wrestling on demand in your ears and on your screens on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch too. Yeah, and the podcast app and all that good stuff. Just dropped a new interview with Jeff Jarrett, Double Day Jeff Jarrett. Pretty sweet. That's a word. I have to slow down. I have to slow down and let the blood get to my brain.
Subscribe to the Twitch channel, Sportskeeda Wrestling, all one word. We may have some special WWE 2K content, maybe a brewing. We may have some special AEW video game content a brewing now that we've got Twitch. So make sure we'll put that link here in the chat. I will put it in right now.
Don't worry, Jose is with us in spirit, working on some technical things for us. He is on assignment. For the diehards they know what's up, the Friday edition, they get their questions on screen, and you guys do too. Full answers, doesn't matter what it is. No fantasy booking. Don't ask us, is this thing I think in my head going to happen? No. It has to be based in some form of reality and what's going on. Let's get into our leadoff story here. WrestleMania 39 plans. We are less than 6 weeks removed from this year's WrestleMania, and we're already thinking about next year's WrestleMania. It is worth noting, during the pandemic, WWE did lay out that they would have the WrestleMania layout for the next 2 years, and this includes next year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles at the state-of-the-art SoFi Stadium. A lot of expectations for that card and all the different things they can do for it, and the entertainment capital of the world, Los Angeles, in the shadow of Hollywood there. So interesting to see how this all plays out and what goes down here. WWE reportedly already has some plans in here. Now, this plays into other plans for other major events, as WWE wants to make their major quarterly pay-per-views, your SummerSlam, your Money in the Bank, those shows into bigger stadium-level events. So they're doing different types of advertising for it, including Money in the Bank this year, which will go down in July at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Money in the Bank is already being advertised in some markets with Cody Rhodes mentioning the winner of Money in the Bank, the big ladder match, is going to WrestleMania. Kind of interesting that they would say that outright.
There were reports
whether or not that was actually supposed to be something that came out and advertised.
There were reports today that came out that said it's going to be business as usual for Money in the Bank. So I don't know if it was an error or if it was just saying, well, you could possibly be at WrestleMania because if you cash in at any time and are still the champion when WrestleMania comes around, well, then there's your ticket. So either it was an error or just I don't know what, but I heard today corrections. It's going to be business as usual for terms of the Money in the Bank contract.
I can see how many of you are watching, so why don't all of you slam the like button in 3, 2, 1. Claymore kick the like button. There you go. So go ahead and do that. We also have a bunch of new content dropping as well on WrestleBinge. It's our Countdown channel. You can check that out. I just did one on the AEW stars that could jump to WWE. We covered that in yesterday's episode with MJF. Wow. We even know we're seeing more and more things about MJF by the day, so we'll see how that story develops. So check that out. But back into the topic here at hand, WrestleMania 39. Do you think this is just a matter of how big things are now? Like that WWE feels the pressure to plan that far ahead, or at least have some idea, because so many things could change by then. A star that is a star now could be less of a star than they are by then. There's so many different things that could change before we get to next year's WrestleMania.
No, I fully believe Vince has it planned out like this all the time.
But then it changes at the last minute, right? There's always, so I don't know.
No, I'm not surprised. I think Vince has it like this all the time. It's just being reported now. So
I just marvel at the size of it when you start planning out something that far in advance. You know what I mean?
Well, and plus the two things that are rumored are two things we expected anyways: Roman Reigns and The Rock, and Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. So those were two things we fully expected anyways. But I'm not surprised if Vince thinks this far ahead all the time for WrestleMania. So doesn't always pan out, but he probably
and with The Rock, I think you really do have to plan that far ahead, because his movie schedule and everything else that comes up with it. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to do business with The Rock now and have that big match that I think would be a massive attraction, considering he hasn't had like a full-fledged match in years now, And when he did have matches for WWE, those made some real business for WWE. Those were big, big events for WWE. So we'll see how this comes around. If you're with us, stick around for the whole show. You'll get your questions and answers on screen, and you get to goof around with us and be a part of the show and drive the conversation here. Moving along here, another story that has been developing throughout the week. It follows the release of that man. You know him as Malcolm Bivens in WWE. He was Stokely Hathaway on the independent circuit and returning to that name. And the word is that he is in line to join All Elite Wrestling. Now, he has recently been performing stand-up comedy and kind of laid it all out and filmed a video where he said, yes, he was offered a deal by WWE in February and he turned it down. He just didn't feel dedicated to the concept of what was going on there, and he wanted to move along. And he cleared the record that, no, I wasn't offered anything with Omos. He's a wrestler on Monday Night Raw. No. I was talking to you about things on the main event, the main roster beyond NXT, but nothing else. And he made some jokes about NXT UK. It's pretty funny if you can seek it out. Hopefully he does some big shows, like around wrestling shows or like a WrestleMania weekend or something like that. I'd love to see his stand-up. So apparently they would want him in AEW. It is worth noting AEW has a lot of managers. They have Mark Sterling. They have Vicky Guerrero. They have Dave Lambert. They have plenty of managers. Would he fit in well, and who would be his liege? Who would he be able to handle there? It's interesting to see how that would play out.
My number one thought would be to elevate a tag team that hasn't really been elevated, or I don't even know if they're signed yet, but I really hope they do get signed. And it's the Infantry, which is Carly and Simon Dean, a couple of former military veterans who are a tag team now called the Infantry. I would love to see Malcolm Bivens be the manager for them. I think he could elevate them. You could put him with stars like Swerve and Keith Lee, who have formed a partnership and could be tagging for the tag titles. It looks like they may be heading to a triple threat at Double or Nothing. But I think it would be more beneficial to have him as a manager of people that could be elevated instead of people that are already established.
Noob and Company commenting over on Twitch saying, I believe that Malcolm could manage Jade Cargill instead of Sterling. I think Sterling's doing a great job. Mark Sterling, Silver Mark Sterling, I think he's doing fine. I don't know why you need to change that. It'd just be changing it to change it, and
if she ever on Twitch too, thanks for joining Twitch there. No, and if she ever turns babyface, she's just going to get rid of Mark and not have a manager. So, which I mean, man, crowd is starting to get behind her now. They recognize the improvements she's made. And outside of the ring, she's tremendous on promos with her attitude and everything. And you got the baddies with Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet. I'd love to see Sunny Kiss get added to the baddies as well. That would be, I think, a good place to put Sunny Kiss in, because you hardly see her on TV now. And, it makes me wonder if that's going to happen sometime soon, just because she gets such a positive reaction now, just the work she's done.
Moving along, a story that involves, as we've mentioned, The Rock earlier. He is the biggest pro wrestling star to transcend the business. And he is the most bankable movie star internationally, a part of so many different franchises, Jumanji, the DC Cinematic Universe. He has that coming along, and just so many different things that he's contributed to over the years. Fast and Furious. And it looks like he's going to be able to come in and swoop a role from Will Smith. He's going to seek revenge for his little brother, Chris The Rock. Of course, Will Smith getting almost all of the heat you could get in Hollywood. But not enough heat for him to be told to leave an award show where he assaulted someone. I never understood why he got to be there. Of course, Will Smith, if you live under a rock and you just exist in wrestling, walked on stage and slapped Chris Rock because he couldn't handle a joke on television.
Oh, he handled it, then looked over and saw that Jada was mad. Then he got mad. He laughed. If you watch the initial reaction to that joke, Will's laughing at it until he looks at Jada, who's pissed.
I gotta do something about it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, he was laughing at that joke to start.
Yeah. So get your questions ready if you guys have any follow-ups for that coming up in the SK Q&A, the Freestyle Friday. With us for the first time, don't make it the last time. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, all that good stuff. So, what role is The Rock going to come in and swoop from Willie Smith here, Big Willie style?
Yeah, this is according to, I don't know who it is even according to. Geez, InsideTheMagic.com. I don't know what the source was exactly or if they are the source.
Inside the Magic is a pretty reliable source on all things Disney. Mostly they cover the theme parks. They're a pretty good, reliable source on that.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were sourcing somebody or they were the source. But anyways, word is that The Rock could replace Will Smith on the sequel to the 2019 reboot of the Aladdin movie, which Will Smith had starred in. So that is a rumor where he could take over as the genie, of course, originally played by Robin Williams on the animated film 30 years ago. And of course, as you know, this has been blowing up everywhere. Will Smith has a lot of projects that have been canceled due to what happened. So
it'd be quite the thing. It'd be quite the role. I mean, this isn't the first time The Rock has done something for Disney. He did the Jungle Cruise movie, which is sitting in my queue on Disney Plus.
I've not seen it yet either.
It is sitting in my queue, but I hear it's all right. For like a Disney adventure film, it's all right. I haven't heard it's the best movie. What's your favorite movie by The Rock? Favorite movie he's been in?
God. Yeah. I'd have to think about that for a sec.
The Rundown, one of his first few movies that he did, is pretty sweet.
That was good with Stifler.
Yeah, him and Stifler was pretty good. I enjoy that. I liked him in the first Fast and the Furious movie he was in. Fast and Furious movies are just Fast and Furious movies, right?
Yeah.
But one of my favorite all-time uses of the F word in PG-13 movies. Have you heard this? You can only use the F word once. And this is the one where it's Fast 6 or whatever. It's when the whole like series becomes not about chasing cars, but becomes like this whole other thing, right? It becomes this whole other spectacle. And they're in Brazil, and The Rock is sent down there by the U.S. government to get Dom and his gang. Go after.
I thought you were going Arnold there for a minute. Get down,
get to the top. So anyway, The Rock shows up off the big airliner. He walks off the plane. He's talking to the Brazilian police. They're like, we'll give you this person. And here's your translator. And of course, some gorgeous lady they just have to have in the action movie, right?
Yeah.
And so they're talking to him, and he goes, why do you like her? I like her smile. And then he's walking away. He says, is there anything else you need? And he goes, one more thing. Stay out of my fucking way. it was just like he had to turn over because like you only get a little look of him and you're like, yeah, that's The Rock. It was so much testosterone dripping off the screen, man.
Yeah. I had never thought about this before, so I had to think about it for a minute. Yeah, my favorite would be Hobbs and Shaw.
People asking, why is this bullshit in my feed? Why are you watching, dude? You got a pretty sweet typhus. Your name sounds like a middle ages disease, like a skin disease. You hear about him? You got typhus.
Yeah,
it's okay. Typhus. Yeah. Stick around. We're a wrestling show.
Sounds like something you get in Oregon Trail.
oh my God! Jeremy cannot make it to Portland. He died of typhus.
What? Really?
Steve Sears says, I still believe The Rock versus Roman will happen. I believe it'll happen too, as we were talking about earlier in our first segment. I think that'll be the major attraction of, if especially if Roman can sustain
it makes sense. It makes sense in Hollywood. It makes sense to do it, and it may be The Rock's last match, much like this year was Stone Cold's last official match. So it only makes sense that maybe Rock closes his career out in Hollywood.
Yeah. If you guys are having fun, hit the like buttons, hit the reactions, all that good stuff. If you're with us on Twitch, go ahead and hit those reactions as well. We're working on emotes. We'll be doing some cool stuff on our Twitch channel. Speaking of Twitch, where all the video gaming stuff is going down, Jeremy, you are well into the world of video game, your experience with EA Sports and all the different stuff they've done, and you've been following the story. AEW Fight Forever, this is their upcoming console video game. This is their biggest investment outside of the actual television product financially, and in terms of infrastructure and all the different things that they put into it. In terms of anything that isn't wrestling, this is the most that AEW has spent in terms of everything, in terms of resources they could put together. And there's a lot riding on this. There's a ton of expectations from the audience for this game to not only just be good, it has to be great, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about great because it's your first, it's your first foray into this game. You're starting from scratch, basically.
I'm just talking about the sharks in the water, buddy. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, so it may, and it says that in this article, Sports Gamer Online, a very reputable source, especially I've seen them leak or give some Madden information out that EA Sports would deny, and then it turns out that it's true. So these guys are pretty legit, and they are saying that the creation suite for Fight Forever is going to be a little bit limited. Which, hey, if you're gonna wait for would you rather wait for a while for the game to come out or get a good game and have a good base and then go from there? So, the creation suite may not be as expansive as WWE 2K, who's had many years head start. So that's going to be a little limited. So that's something to expect right off the gate. In regards to music, one source said, don't expect all licensed music to make it into the game. Of course, that's always a hard thing to do.
Very expensive.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do. If you go back to Peacock, watch some old stuff. A lot of the entrance themes are not there because that stuff is expensive. So a lot of may not make it into the game. So there, that is another thing to expect. In regards to the game's development, the expectations were set when No Mercy and Here Comes the Pain were set as inspirations. Games with good gameplay but reduced customization. If the game is fun, no one will care about the other stuff. So that's what I was just saying. If it's a good base to start out with, and you don't have an expansive creative wrestler, hey, it's going to be a good game and it'll make people happy and look forward to the next one.
Is the creator wrestler a key thing you think for any game now or no? I don't know if they absolutely need it.
No,
they and you can't DLC that. You can't just start adding characters to a game. That's something that's got to be hardwired into the game. Correct?
Again, this is their first run out. Don't expect a massive selection of stuff like WWE 2K has.
No, we're hearing they're only gonna have 50 wrestlers to go from the get-go in the game, right?
So this is the first step. And again, it comes from a reputable developer who did SmackDown versus Raw video games for years before it went to 2K. So you got to start somewhere. And excited to see. I mean, word is it's about 4 months away. So we'll see if that date
I'm
sticks.
just surprised they haven't started the marketing for it already. If they have so much going on this thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little surprised when they said September. So let's see if that sticks.
The marketing of it doesn't match up with other games. That's the thing I'm thinking. We know about a 2K game from WWE coming out 8-9 months before it happens, right?
Yeah.
We know about other video games.
That's why I'm wondering.
I'm wondering if this gets pushed back. I'm really wondering if this gets pushed back
because again,
23.
They never said September. This is just hearsay from rumor mill. Any ROH wrestlers in the game from Steven Chambers? Probably not. 50 wrestlers are only going to be in the game. It's going to be your core AEW people. I don't know how far out the new wrestlers are going to. I don't know what wrestlers are going to be because they got more than 50 wrestlers. I know that much. So it's going to be your main players on Dynamite basically. And I doubt there will be any ROH wrestlers. So DLC is another story, which is something that hasn't even been discussed yet. So that's again, I don't know if this is going to be September or not, but we keep getting information, so we may be getting closer.
All right, get those questions ready. It is Freestyle Friday. You dictate the conversation. We always love it. And we will award the question of the day. And that is based on integrity and heart and wrestling fandom.
I thought it was going to be based on the 3 eyes.
The intensity, indigestion, all that stuff.
Impotence. No way.
Come on. We're trying to find our sponsors, man. Dick pills, gas pills. What we got? Pills.
Blue Chew.
Speaking of Blue Chew, we're talking about Starrcast, baby. We're getting hard for Starrcast. Starrcast V has been announced. This will be the first Starrcast in 5 years from Conrad Thompson and ad-free shows. I attended the first one. I worked that for a previous website I worked for. And then I performed at the second one. I got to do comedy at the second one. I've been around fan conventions, and I know, Jeremy, you've been around them with video games and different things. I've been around them with music and comic book stuff, the Wizard World Tour. I've worked a few of those. I worked C2E2 twice in like a secondary capacity with like the signings and all the different stuff. This is one of the best I've ever seen. Not to say that the other ones aren't good, but in terms of like what people spend, what you get for the base ticket when you come in, the panel shows make it worth it. If you don't want to come to an event, you hear this about the signings. Oh, it costs so much to get an autograph and a picture with so-and-so, right? Well, if you come to this and you just want to like look at cool wrestling stuff and see some panels like you do at Comic-Con, like when you see those videos at Comic-Con, you're getting the similar experience. I would describe this as the Comic-Con of wrestling in terms of like that San Diego Comic-Con that we all follow online. Most of us just follow it online. Have never been to it. Starrcast is the same thing. And it's interesting because this one is going down in Nashville, Summerslam weekend. This will be the first time that ad-free shows has opted, and Starrcast has opted, with Conrad at the lead, to run in correlation with the WWE weekend. It is also worth noting that a lot of people are already rushing to the conclusion that WWE is somehow involved with Starrcast now.
Are you saying they got out their jump to conclusions, Matt?
Yes, they got out their jump to conclusions mat. They threw out their jump to conclusions mat, and they just leapt off their porch and landed on it. All right. So I can say from reaching out to some people I know that this is not a WWE sponsored event. This is WWE. I don't know if WWE talent is going to be there. It is worth noting that in the past, WWE pulled talent from this. They pulled The Undertaker from this. They pulled Kurt Angle from this in the past when they weren't under contract exactly with WWE, or at least they had holes in their contract that would allow them to do something like this. So, yes, it is going to be at the Nashville Fairgrounds, July 29th, July 30th, and July 31st. So in complete correlation with everything going on with SummerSlam that weekend. It is also worth noting that Ad-Free Shows is running a show. They're running Wrestling Showcase, a wrestling show in Chicago area, in the Schaumburg area, not too far from where AEW All Out is scheduled to be. So there is some presence for them that weekend, which is interesting. I got information about that. That show will have Killer Cross, Jacob Fatu on it. So it's interesting. They're still doing like these kind of, piggyback, correlating events. We're going to run the same market as somebody else, and we're going to do a secondary event. It is worth noting Starrcast is not a wrestling show. It's a convention, and there's stage shows on it. You may get like a press conference of some kind. They've done that in the past. And they've done a lot of really cool podcasts on it. They did the roast of Bruce Pritchard at it. So it was absolutely hilarious. One of the best conventions I ever went to. I absolutely loved doing it. And I'm not saying it just because I got to perform at it. I got to cover it, and then there was one day where I wasn't even doing any interviews or doing any work. It was just fun to walk around and be around that. It was the Woodstock of wrestling, as Dave Grech of Busted Open called it. It was very appropriate. What do you think here? There's some people already saying that this is a WWE deal, and it isn't. It's not a WWE deal.
No, but it's interesting they're running that territory that we...
But they are. It is worth noting that Teal Rhodes, this is the sister of Cody Rhodes, the daughter of Dusty Rhodes, tweeted out, "Who's going to Starrcast?" So I thought that was kind of interesting and compelling in that regard. So we'll see where this plays out.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to swing by there for sure. If you've never been to one, this is worth it. Let's jump into your questions. If you got them right now, jump right on there. We'll get to them right now. I love here. Here we go.
I'll let you run the questions.
You let me run the questions? Mr. James Espanto Fernando, the guy who's been with me for years. Thank you so much, James. I owe you so many beers, James. He goes, Big Kip, what's your favorite comedians? Which of your favorite comedians would make great pro wrestling managers? James, I think you're in the running for as me as a comic. I think you're in the running for who would be this. I'm gonna say this right now. Bert Kreischer is absolutely hilarious. He has a bravado about him. I know he's friends with some people in WWE. I think him just whipping off his shirt and being shirtless at ringside would be awesome. The pillar is Andy Kaufman.
Machine.
Like Andy Kaufman should be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right. or he should be in any wrestling Hall of Fame. He was the best celebrity wrestling crossover of all time.
Not?
He's not. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And I know Bill Apter would love it. Annie Kaufman should be in there. So I think we're always going top down. Annie Kaufman and them. Bert Kreischer should be in there. I've always thought Kevin Hart. He did some stuff on the WWE Network when it came out. Like he filmed some stuff for Countdown and different stuff like that. He's a huge star. He's sold out arenas on his own. He's selling out an arena tour this fall. I think and he's friends with The Rock. Like it'd be really cool if they did something with him. And in WrestleMania, like if you wanted to have a host of WrestleMania and you got Kevin Hart, that'd be a pretty, you know what I mean? Like that would be in terms of like a manager secondary role or something like that. I would love to, and I'd love to see him in the corner or somebody like that. I would love. You want me to rewrite history? Go and put like a Kevin Hart in place of Donald Trump or something like that, or just something ridiculous. Like I don't mind it. But I would go with those two guys. They're out there. I don't think she would ever do it. My favorite comedian is Maria Bamford. I think Maria Bamford just being all anxious at ringside for her friend in the ring getting slammed, her manager, like whoever she'd be managing would be interesting. Let's jump into some questions here. Here we go. Jacob has one. What do you think of this? What do you think this SummerSlam as well as next year's Mania plans look like for Roman? Well, it's worth noting, that everything changed in the last week. If you've been following the top story this week, we've been covering it. What is going on with Roman Reigns? He has a new structured WWE deal, which will have him on the road less. He won't be at live events. You won't see him at live events. If you do, it'll only be like major markets. So what's going to happen with him? The advertising came out for Clash at the Castle. He's on that card. That'll be the beginning of September. We expect him to be a part of Money in the Bank. We expect him to be part of SummerSlam, but it looks like he's off the card for Hell in a Cell coming up here the first week of June. So that's kind of what the next 4 months look like. How much television he's on, or if he wrestles on television at all, will be interesting here in the months ahead to see how that kind of plays out and what goes on there. That's a foreseeable future with him. Kevin Bertman, Kevin, here we go. What's your guys take on Tony Khan's Forbidden Door comments? Are these recent comments, or is there anything different about this? Or are we just talking about Forbidden Door as a show in general coming up in June with AEW New Japan?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I know he's made comments that the show will have some dream matches on it, matches that fans want in terms of an AEW name and a New Japan name. We'll get some of that. And I do think it would be a disappointment if it was just like, here's a New Japan match, and then here's an AEW match. We got to have some intermingling, right?
Yeah. It'll be interesting who they pair Okada with, who they pair Naito with. Juice Robinson just re-signed. So maybe have a U.S. title match as well. There's going to be a big 4-way. I think that big U.S. show is right before Forbidden Door, if I'm not mistaken. There is a tremendous 4-way. I think Moxley's in it with Tanahashi and I think Ospreay. That 4-way is going to be.
Is that in Japan or is that in the States?
That's here. I can't remember where, but it's here somewhere.
And then we have a Capital Collision this weekend as well. So I mean.
That might be that show. That might be Capital Collision.
I think it is.
That 4-way is going to probably be a match of the year candidate.
I had so much fun at Windy City Riot. I got to work a marketing table for New Japan, and they were very, very nice and accommodating. But it was a really cool show. I got to see the show, and it was very, very awesome to see just a New Japan show.
You can do the same. You can do the same thing for Forbidden Door, or no?
I don't know. I'll find out because I may be doing Sportskeeda stuff that day too.
Yeah, we gotta. Don't we still have to deliver the award to Okada?
Yes, we do. You guys want to see it? I have it. Do you want to see the Kazuchika Okada award?
Get it? Why not? We got time.
Answer this next question, Lonnie.
All right. Let's see. What is y'all reaction to Cody Rhodes returning WrestleMania this year? I mean, it was expected, but let me tell you something. Even though you expect something, when you see the moment happen for itself, it is still a truly a true spectacle. Look at that sexy. They did a good job with those awards. But even though we fully expected it to happen, it didn't take away from the moment. It was a completely awesome moment, probably going to be one of the best moments of the year. And, it's exciting to have him back there. Obviously, his dream is to be world champion in WWE, and you got to fully expect that it's going to happen. So let's scroll backwards here, Kev. We got some more to get to here. I'm gonna go all the way to the beginning, so you go pull one in while I go to the beginning.
Here we go. How long will Charlotte Flair be out? We don't know. I mean, If she's out nursing injuries, if she's out, getting married, like some people assume that she is, I don't know. It's really up to her.
The rumor is the marriage is in June, so it may not be until Money in the Bank before she comes back, or
if she comes back that early at all.
Yeah.
I mean, what's to say she's not out for the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Who knows? She's a big star. I think she's earned it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Jamie Kelly, who do you think is going to be the one to take the titles from Roman? This is a question we get asked a lot. It's hard to say right now. It's really hard to say. I don't think they can keep the championship in this position where he's not going to be on TV all the time very long. I don't think that's something you can do for more than a few months before, all right, we got to take the belt off of him, I don't know if you do this big match with The Rock and him, and it's a family battle, and you do it at WrestleMania, like we're all thinking it's going to be in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need the titles for that. So, I mean, now it's like, all right, well, who's the big player now that you can do this with?
Well, we still don't know what's going to happen with the titles. Are they going to introduce a new title, or are they
going to merge them? They haven't merged them.
My guess
they're
is
just saying that he's the WWE champion and the WWE Universal champion.
My guess is they haven't brought out that new belt yet, that they're going to split them. Drew's going to take one, Cody's going to take the other. Drew might take it at Money in the Bank. Cody may cash in Money in the Bank at SummerSlam. That's my guess right now, to be honest.
Here we go. James Esponta with another one here. I'll sneak this one out. I didn't mean to jump on you. He wants to know your favorite match of the year so far. Nebraska's favorite son.
Yeah, something like that.
What's best Nebraska's favorite son?
If we're going AEW, I gotta go dog collar match, CM Punk MJF.
Damn great match.
If we're gonna go, God, I'd have to think WWE off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look. A lot of good matches this year, but off the top of my head, I'd have to go back and look.
I'd say Cody and Seth at Mania, because there was just something special about.
See, and I liked the other match better. So,
you like the one that was just this past week? That's right.
Yeah,
you were a fan of that. Let's jump into some other ones here. I want to not leave anyone hanging here. You got one? David from the Barclays Center says, just got an email from Ticketmaster about Saturday night's main event going on the market in July. Worth checking out? Is it a house show? I can tell you this. So I'm working for 104.9 The X in Rockford. WWE has decided to rebrand their house shows and live events with a little bit more glitz than simply just saying WWE's live in your town, And I think that branding is special because they want you to make you remember you're seeing WWE. You're not just saying wrestlers come out, okay, they're going to have a match. No, you're seeing something, the aesthetics and the air and the name of things still matters to wrestling fans. And if hardcore wrestling fans are going to come out and they put those banners on the ring and they kind of make it a little bit more of a special event and they have some new entrance ways and stuff, those are the things that hardcore fans, the diehards, really, really care about. And those are fans that are going to still buy tickets to your show. They have one coming up. They've rebranded some shows like that. Sunday shows are, I believe, called Sunday Nights. They're Sunday Stunners is the one they've named some of those other shows. And Saturday shows are called Main Events. There is a really cool thing. You can win tickets to the Rockford area Saturday night's main event. May 21st, you can win that at the xrockford.com. The xrockford.com. Go there, and if you're in the Midwest area, you want to make the trip out May 21st. It's going to be a pretty cool show. Drew McIntyre on the card. All the stars of SmackDown going to be there as well.
We got a hard out for Kev here in a minute, so let's get one more question in, and I just had it. Where the hell did it go? If you find one, maybe we'll do two more.
Here we go. Here we go. We got an AEW question.
I found it. I found it too.
Here, yeah. You got
that one.
Stephen Chambers, Double or Nothing is 2 weeks away. Do you guys see any titles changing hands? Of course, we're getting Punk versus Hangman. And every time Hangman's defended this title since he won it some months ago, everyone's thought that's a match where he could lose the belt. Like, he's never been like a sure shot champion. Am I wrong? And I don't mean that in a bad way, which is good. It's kind of compelling. You want to know, does it feel 50-50? Does it feel like this is going to be a possibility? But he's going up against CM Punk, who's, if not the number one name, the number two name in the company in terms of popularity, in terms of residence in people's minds, in terms of residence in the casual fan. And there's been a lot of people who are on the bubble of watching AEW that maybe watch both, that have seen, all the chatter, that they got to do something that plays to the mainstream fan. They've already got the hardcore AEW fan base that they've cultivated.
Yeah.
Can they do something that makes someone who's on the bubble about it come over? Is CM Punk winning your world title that thing to do, or is just CM Punk being there the thing that would have made, that fringe fan or that bubble fan or just that, I just watch Monday and Fridays. You're going to try and get me to watch Wednesdays? I think Punk winning that title is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a for sure thing, but of any of the titles that could change hand, I think that's the one that could change the most.
No, I thought Adam Cole was going to beat Hangman here. I definitely think CM Punk's going to beat Adam Page now. The tag titles are definitely going to change hands, and Christian's going to turn heel and start a feud with Jungle Boy. Now, who wins that match? I don't know. It would be kind of cool to see Strickland and Keith Lee be tag champs, because that's a team that we didn't expect to really move forward with. I fully expect them to win it more than Team Taz. So I think Strickland and Lee win the tag titles. Christian turns heel on Jungle Boy, because that's been building for so long. I don't think Serena Deeb's going to beat Thunder Rosa, though it's going to be a tremendous match. We do not know what the TNT title is going to be, or the TBS title quite yet. I believe the TBS title may not even be defended, because the finals of the Owen Hart are that night. So maybe, I don't know. Because I didn't know. Well, no, the winner would get a world title shot. So maybe Jade faces somebody there. I don't know who's going to take Jade down at this point, unless you sign Athena. We don't know who the Joker is yet that's going to face Britt Baker. We do know the replacement for Sheeta is going to be Chris Statlander, as that was announced at Rampage tonight. All right, one final question. Kev's got to get out of here.
Yuri Genis, excuse me, Yuri. I've seen all over social media reports that MJF is unhappy with AEW. Might be looking into moving over to WWE. Yes, this was the episode we covered yesterday. Go check it out. You dig deep into it. With his contract expiring reportedly, I have to add that part, in 2024, what scenarios could trigger an earlier release from MJF from his contract? Well, that's very hypothetical.
It's a work!
And some people say it's a work. I've heard other people say he's outright trying to work everyone on it. And I've also can confirm, I've heard some people say that he tries to work everybody. So this is, who knows? He is the M in MJF stands for master, and he's trying to be the master of his own narrative as much as he possibly can. And he should be, as all professional entertainers should be. Him in WWE, as we've laid out, would be a big deal. It would make sense. It would make sense for him as a heel to go there and do some big things. You've said it. Him at WrestleMania makes, there's a lot of boxes that could be checked there for him. He's a young guy. He's still going to be in his like not even into his late 20s when this deal comes up. It's worth noting. Everyone thinks that he talks with such effortless grace, and he's so in control of his personality and all these different things. The prime for most professional wrestlers who get to the televised level is 36 to 42. Think about this. This guy's not even 30. He's not even 30 yet.
Well, that was the old days, though. The old days, you didn't peak until your late 30s, but that's changed a lot now.
I'm just talking about it being an entertainer at any level. Like it takes to do it at a certain level. Now you have to work your way up to the next one in terms of like how you know it and your memory and your focus and getting the reaction all the way into the cheap seats, as some people say.
Yeah.
So I'm of the mind where I think him in WWE in the future, I don't want to say it's for sure, but it would surprise me when it happens, but it wouldn't surprise me that it happened. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I don't think anything is going to trigger it early.
No. I mean, unless he gets into a legal situation, he really, really wants to get out of the deal, and then you're getting into a real mess. I don't think things are nearly as bad as that. I don't think AEW would let him get on TV and say the things he would say this week, but it's also worth noting AEW has no issue taking real life drama and throwing it as a gasoline onto a storyline and a character. They did it with Cody, and he actually did leave and go to WWE, right? So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, he comes out in his hometown and says somebody in the back doesn't want me doing something, and he's talking about Tony Khan, he's talking about AEW, and he's playing to the smart fans that are following the dirt sheets that we are, the dirty, dirty dirt sheets with dirt sheet clickbait under our fingernails. Thank you guys so much for checking out our show.
I will say this. I have said this all along, and I'm going to stick to it. he is re-signing with AEW, and then at the end of that contract, he's going to WWE.
Okay, so you don't think he leaves anytime soon?
20,
You don't think
27
by
or
soon?
28.
I mean 2024,
27 or 28.
All right, it's
depending
doable.
on how long the deal is.
Yeah,
but I think he's re-signing with AEW. Then he jumps.
Definitely. CRC knows what's up. He says, enjoy wrestling. That's what we tell you at the end of every show. I will be at Zany's Comedy Club tomorrow in Old Town in Chicago, in the north side of town. If you're in Chicago, you know anyone, tell them to come out. I'll be on the late show at 11:30, the After Dark comedy show. I will also be killing it at the Kedzie Inn in Chicago on May 20th. You can check out all my comedy dates and all the different stuff I do in radio at my Twitter at Kev Kellam. Thank you guys. Got me over 3,000 followers. I really, really appreciate that. And of course, follow JB Huskers. JB Huskers with them hot takes. Those hot takes that you got to believe in. You can see those over on Twitter and all the fun stuff he's doing covering NXT every single week. So that's what we got going on. Did you enjoy the show? 40 minutes of content we gave you. Did you hit the like button? Did you give us just a morseling of a like, sir? Can you give it to us, a hungry baby bird, sir, internet bird, mouse? Chirp, chirp.
Just a piece of bread, sir.
Someone watched Oliver Twist.
A little morsel, sir.
You're gonna lose a bet and have to talk an entire podcast like that.
Please, sir.
Young little wrestling fan, young Oliver. When you're watching wrestling, what are you supposed to do?
Enjoy wrestling, sir.
Yeah.
Watch out!